specifically of zero. Welcome back to the series where we're talking about student loan repayment. In the last video, I gave you 5 tips on how to pay off your student loans faster. And today we're going to go deeper, dive into it a little deeper, and really explore those topics so that you really understand exactly what you're doing. Now, if you remember, the first tip I gave you was to create a budget, specifically a zero. Specifically a zero-based budget. I mean, personally, I choose this one because it really allowed me to find more money in my budget to put towards student loans. Money that I didn't even know that I had. So I just went with it. And once I discovered it, I was like, okay, yes, this is the one we're going to use. So a zero-based budget is what we're going to go through. And let's just take a look. What we're looking at here is a mock zero-based budget. We're just going to go through and get a better idea of actually what that looks like in practical terms. So you can see here I have the total income set to $4,000 and all the expenses are listed here, but all of those expenses equal, you guessed it, $4,000. Therefore, income minus expenses equals $0. Typically, when most people do a budget, they will track their expenses. So everything that they know is coming out on a monthly basis. And then whatever money they have left over, they typically put it in this spending area. So we allocate it for our purposes. We're just going to say $200 a month to go shopping, that extra coffee that you like, etc. We've allocated $200. So where does the rest of that money go? In our case, we want to put it in this category: credit cards and loans. Now, what I've done here is not quite the avalanche or the snowball method. I've kind of mixed the two, but you kind of get the idea. All of that extra money we've allocated here. Now, if you look closely, I have it set to withdrawals. So another mini tip for you is that spending money, take it out of the bank. That way it's in cash, and once it's gone, you know it's gone. That way you won't be tempted to spend that extra $60 on going out that weekend, an extra $10 on that other coffee, that type of thing. Second tip was to beat the interest. Now, what does that mean? That means calculate the interest on all of your student loans. If it's separated by group, individual loans, however they have it set up in your account, you will calculate the interest for each loan, and this will allow you to have a general idea of how much interest has been accruing on a monthly and on a bi-weekly basis. On a bi-weekly and on a monthly basis, that's what I mean. That way we can, really get our money working for us and see how we can start chipping away at your principal, not just interest. I have a mock spreadsheet that I created, and we'll take a look at it and see kind of what that process looks like so you can have a better idea. Let's go. Kind of wanted to give you a more realistic example. I didn't want to just make up some numbers. So these are my actual student loans. And you can see here I have them separated out by loan group, the monthly payment, outstanding balance, etc., etc. So the main calculations I want to focus on here today is the daily accrual of the interest rate, bi-weekly and monthly. So you can see here, for me to get the daily interest rate, the formula I used was the outstanding balance times the interest rate. So this one will be 4.41% divided by 365.25. This is the calculation that's listed on my loan provider's website, not just 365. So that's what I went with, times the term. So for daily, that's going to be 1. For bi-weekly, that would be 15. And for a month, that will be 30 or 31. So again, here, the overall point of this spreadsheet is to give you an idea of how much interest is accruing monthly, bi-weekly, and daily. Maybe not so much, but bi-weekly and monthly. So when you make your additional payments, you will be able to try and keep up with the interest. Again, this will change because student loan interest is accrued on a daily basis, not just on a monthly basis. So keep that in mind. Next, we had choose a debt repayment method. That's two options typically. You got the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. Now, the debt avalanche method typically is going to focus on the loan with the most interest, or you can say the highest interest. But specifically, what I would actually do is go a little bit further and say, focus on the loan that actually accrues the most interest. So that may not be the loan that actually has the highest interest rate. So these calculations that you did in the first or the second tip I gave you, this is going to give you that general idea of being able to tackle that debt first. Now, the debt snowball method, you focus on the loan with the lowest amount. So again, you have all of your loan groups out there, find out which one has the lowest debt, and you're going to focus on that one, and you'll pay that one off first and then work your way up. And whatever amount you were paying on that one, you'll take that and pay that amount plus whatever you were paying on the other loan and pay that off as well. Now, the fourth tip that I have for you was to make additional payments. Now, with those additional payments, we want to be very strategic, right? We want to be very strategic and again, kind of focus on a specific loan, kind of like what I was saying in the last tip. Depending on your loan provider, you want to make sure that you can go in there and maybe either make a call and say, hey, can we put it towards this loan? Or you specify exactly which loan that you want to make that extra payment on. And so what this would allow you to do is knock that principal down even more. And therefore, we're trying to get out of debt here, right? So therefore, get out of debt a little sooner. So, and again, you can see how your loans are actually allocated as well. There's different allocation methods, at least with Nelnet. That's who my provider is. With Nelnet, on how your original payment is allocated across all of your loans. So you'll see that each loan group has their own specific amount that's actually due for the month. And that total goes into your total payment that is actually required of you on the monthly basis. And as for that fifth and final tip, we want to make sure that we're making some type of additional income. That could be getting a raise at your job or a side hustle, something that you really enjoy that will allow you to get an extra $100, $200 a month. Could be more, could be less. Anything extra here is going to work. So for me personally, I actually have a side videography and photography business, mainly focused on the videography, photography, not so much, but that's my side hustle. And it allows me to make a couple extra $100 a month doing weddings, events around the city. So that's a deep dive of the 5 tips that I have for you in my last video. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you, and we'll see you in the next video.